What's good, guys? It's Kingston, and this is gonna be my first actual anime review. I think I've done one way back. I had a super shitty mic for like Yu-Gi-Oh episodes, but this is gonna be just an overall overview of an anime, which I'm currently caught up on in the anime. I don't read the manga, but this is gonna be a Black Clover, and this is gonna be, I guess you can call it a review, because I'm gonna run over everything very quickly. I'm not gonna linger on any specific point for too long. But I do want to start this off by saying, in my opinion, it has the hype. I think it doesn't deserve the hype. I feel like Black Clover is not even a victim. I guess it's a circumstance, best way to describe it. The circumstances of when it came out is what gave it its popularity, honestly, in my opinion. Like, I'm not saying the show is terrible, but it hasn't shown anything for me to make it. It feels like a 50 episode anime in my opinion, but let me go ahead and just start from the beginning. I want to start with the story, which is very generic. Basically, it's the typical of almost every shonen. It's like pretty much it's about the main character, Asta, his rival slash friend, brother, whatever you want to call him, and he wants to become the Wizard King, which is the Hokage, the greatest fighter, king of the pirates, all of that shit, basically. He wants to be the best, the strongest person in the world, basically. Generic plot, whatever, so he joins a group, the Black Bulls, which is the crappiest group, works his way up, trying to work his way up to the top. Like I said, I'm not gonna linger on these points too long, but what I do want to say about the story is, in my opinion, it definitely moves too quickly. Which I guess I'm in the minority for that. I will say that, because some people think My Hero Academia, Hunter x Hunter, things like that move slowly. In my opinion, Hunter didn't move slowly at the beginning, but My Hero honestly moved too fast to me at first. It slowed down after a while, but My Hero was moving too quick in the first season to me. So I want to, like I said, I don't want to linger too long, so I'm going to move on to the next part, which is characters. Which, I'm gonna say, in my opinion, Asta, that might have a little bit more potential, but they're very one-dimensional. Like Asta's, he has character quirks, but he's very one-dimensional. He wants to be a Wizard King, and he wants to marry, what's her name, Sister Lily, and that's basically his whole character. And now he's getting he has the whole typical thing of, I'm gonna protect my friends, not giving up is my magic, all of this, little corny stuff they do in shonens. Not mad about that specifically. That's whatever. He's the main character. He can be one-dimensional all he fucking wants. Is where I'm a bit disappointed. Is basically, I was a crybaby as a kid. I'm not a crybaby anymore. Now I'm gonna become better than you. Like, okay. I just want to see where they go with because he has potential to become a much better character. What I will give them a few characters that have good backstories, but some people was too short. Some people didn't really get too much of one. I will say Noelle is one of the best, if not the best female sidekick or main character in the shonen that I've seen. Because she's a typical tsundere, hit the main character type of guy, whatever there. But her whole backstory, the way her character is developing, is much better than any of the other ones. Like, Sakura stayed the same damn near throughout the whole series. You can say what you want. I like Sakura, actually. But she stayed the same throughout the whole series, so you can say what you want to be. Noelle shows how she starts to change throughout this show, if you actually watch it. So, I will give them that. I will also give them, out of the Black Bulls, the only two people that got enough development that I could really like was Finral, Vanessa. And they're the key points when it comes to the fighting. Their fights are very good anytime them two are involved, or one of them. But other than that, there's not really too much to say on the characters. I don't want to even get into the villains, because they pretty much you might as well say there's only been one villain, or one group of villains throughout the whole show, because they rushed it. But anyways, next is the power system, which is actually very good. I will say that. It has a really good power system. The Grimoires, I actually like them a lot. Basically Grimoires, because the one thing I like about them is they set themselves up basically for ass pulls. They can set, the way the Grimoires basically work is, as you grow, you learn new spells. If you get into certain situations, a spell might pretty much show up. Like if you're desperate, if you're in a terrible fucking situation, you might need to, you know, pull through. You might learn a new spell on the goddamn spot. Maybe I was watching terrible goddamn fan sub or something, but that was before I had Crunchyroll. But that was pretty goddamn bad. Or not pretty bad, that was pretty cool, I should say. If that is how it works, I actually like that. I have to find out what it actually said, but that was pretty cool. I like that. And also, I do want to interrupt really quick just to let you guys know. You're gonna be seeing some posts on the video, of course. That's just gonna be related to a question I posted on Reddit, which is basically me talking about, pretty much I just posted what was so good about the show in you guys' opinion. Had some very good responses. Then I had some assholes, but you know, whatever, that's with everything. Alright, next, world building. One of the things I've heard on Reddit, and I've chatted with somebody briefly about it, was that they said they had a very good world building, and I did not see it at all. It depends on what you mean by world building, because if you're talking about locations, Black Clover has locations. But in terms of like pretty much creating cultures for these places, not really. Like there's a strong magic regions, it's like, okay, you got a place that's on fire. Alright, you got a place that's underwater with crazy tides, stuff like that. But the only place that really had its own culture was the water place. They had their own like clothes, they weren't allowed to go back to the surface, things like that. I was like, I liked them, but everybody else had to get out my face, I'm sorry. Character development. Now character development as a whole, just about all the characters, is very iffy. Because it's just weird on the characters they'll do it on. Like, we've seen Gordon, we finally got to see Gordon and, I forget the girl's name all the time, oh, Gray's story. But theirs was super short. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more to it, just considering Black Clover kind of follows this path recently where Asta would go on a mission with a certain person in the Black Bulls, and that's when you get to see their backstory. That's what it seems like they're gonna go for. So I'm ready to see the rest of Gordon and Grace. But overall, this is a very good spot. I will say that, because at least even the more insignificant characters get it. So they did pretty good there. That's an overall good one. Now, there's a few other problems that I wouldn't say really fall into a category. So I'll just note them off as like other. So the first thing I would like to say is, seems like they're a bit scared of killing off characters, which, it's a shonen. I know you don't want to, but killing off a character can give you so much impact for what you do next. You don't have to kill off somebody that's extremely important. Like, it's not, I wouldn't ask shonen characters to kill off like from Black Clover, for example, I wouldn't ask them to kill off a Black Bull or anything like that. That's not necessary. You don't need to kill off Mimosa, nobody like that. A good example, if somebody could have killed off and could have drove Asta even further, would have been, and it would have been justified to me, would have easily been father, I can't remember, I don't know his actual name, but the father of the church where they grew up. If they would have killed him off when he was poisoned, when that elf took over the poison captain's body, not captain, that magic knight, if they would have let him die at that moment, that could have really made Asta go off the deep end. He could have been a different character, because he could have just said, I hate the elves after they did something like this. He could have became like the evil one. That would be a crazy twist. If Asta became evil basically, after something like that happened, and was okay, like was able to look past it. So you would think, has the typical design and the character archetype that would be the one that will become evil. But if that was the case, I would have liked the show so much better. But anyway, and it would have had something very unique to it to make it have earned its popularity. But the last thing I want to talk about, well, it's related to fighting, all of it. It would be the fights feel repetitive. And what I mean by that is, if you go ahead and pull up a bunch of Black Clover fights, all it is super speed, basically. Not all of them, of course, but it's damn near almost always just people running around at super speed or flying around super speed, and It's hard to keep up with it. A bunch of attacks. It just feels like no fight really grabbed my attention. There's only like, I want to say there was one fight. There's only one fight I can think off the top of my head that really grabbed my attention. That was Yami versus Lich. That fight was pretty good. Other than that, nothing else really that I can think of. Oh no, and Yuno versus Real. Other than that, I can't really think of any other fights. But besides the fights feeling repetitive, anything like that, I've also noticed they're kind of lacking tactics for the most part. It's always like, oh, whoever got the bigger boomstick, whoever's stronger, that's the person that's gonna win the fight for the most part. If I have more mana, I win. But there's some people that do some cool things with theirs. Like, I expected him to be able to fly, of course, he has wind. But the two people that always come to an example is exactly Finral and Vanessa. Anytime they're involved in something, especially fighting, it's so good. Like when when Finral, Vanessa, and Asta fought Velo, that was a really good fight. Like, it wasn't one of my favorites. It doesn't really jump out as, oh, this is amazing. I just liked what they did because they actually said, we're gonna have a strategy here. But they were like, yeah, look at what their abilities are. They have to come up with some sort of strategy. Give somebody a magic that's meant to move people around, basically. And that's exactly what they did. Made it work really cool looking. But the last thing I will say is, it rarely takes a break from the action too. Like, Black Clover loves fighting all day, every day. Which, I know this is a main complaint people make about My Hero and things. It's too slow, it's too sappy. For some reason, people don't like school life, I guess, in their anime. Even though Bleach was one of the biggest animes ever, and it had it. I don't even like Bleach that much, but it had it. But I digress. It moves a little, it moves too quick. Like, it goes from one fight, okay, to the next episode is another fight. For like 5 or 6 episodes straight, it's just back-to-back fighting. We don't really get a cooldown. And if we do get a cooldown, it's like for a few minutes to see some backstory. That in the middle of a fight, and then it goes right back to fighting. For me, that's a bit too much. I just can't deal with that. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's not for me. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, this isn't gonna be a full rundown of the anime or anything like that. I didn't go too far into detail. There is more to it, but that's just the base level. And why I'm saying it doesn't earn popularity. What I'm saying too, in terms of when it came out, is okay, Naruto was gone. Pretty much the big three was falling apart, you might as well say. Because we knew Naruto was gone, Bleach was already gone, and One Piece is currently still going. But if you're not counting One Piece, it depends on how you look at it. Some people still count One Piece as part of the big three. In my opinion, Black Clover, like let's just say Black Clover came out when all three of those were still going, or even if Bleach had ended, but One Piece and Naruto was still going, I don't think Black Clover would have survived in that long. I think it would have made it to the 50s, maybe a bit further, but it probably would have just dropped off at like 70s, 80s. I can't see it making this far. No way in hell this was gonna consider passable. If you noticed as well, I didn't talk about the animation because I'm not getting into that discussion. I've talked to a few people about that, talked to my friends about that. They tried to justify it. It's like, look, I understand there's things going on in the studio that we don't know about, or I don't know about. That's cool. That's why I'm not gonna judge it. I'm not judging it based on the animation. So I will let that go, but you don't have to be so toxic about it. But anyways, that's all I really want to say. If the show would have dropped when all these shows were all going, it would have did terrible. Because my big three, actually I'm not even gonna say it. I'm gonna make a video on what my big three is now. So I'm gonna leave that as a secret for you guys. All you're gonna know, obviously, actually Black Clover might be on it. I was gonna say Black Clover probably won't be on it, but I'll end up making that video at a different time. Anyways, this is Kingston, and I'm out.